Hey guys, how's it going? Archetype Builds here, and with a bit of a different video for you here. They've just released the Playtest 6 huge document, 77 pages of PDF, and that's too big for my usual type of deep dive videos. Not deep dive, but usually I like to put little things up on the screen and zoom in on specific segments, and I like to mull over these new changes a little bit before I bring them out. Not, years of playtesting, obviously, but usually I like to sit with it and think about it and then come back to you with a video. And with this much content, if I did that, it would be, it would come out in August. So I want to just go through, kind of get my reactions. I've skimmed this document very lightly just to see if there was something worth talking about here. And there definitely is. So trying a new type of video, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't, but I can promise you that I'm going to be going through each of these classes and doing a much deeper dive soon. And I'm going to have some guests on the channel. We're going to be talking about these changes. It's going to be a very different kind of experience, really digging into OneD&D. All right, we are back. It has been over 24 hours for me, and I am back talking about the new UA Playtest 6. We're starting with the Paladin. So, the Paladin, and again, I have skimmed this document. I have not read it all the way through. Let's check out these design notes. Lay on hands is now a bonus action. Was it an action previously? All right, so that's probably good. I wonder if they've changed the ability for the Paladin to, like, dole out one damage at a time, or one healing at a time to just keep party members up. Because now that is going to be something that they do all the time. Spellcasting has 3 changes. Spell preparation, blah, blah, blah. Paladin can change one of the prepared spells on finishing a long rest. That's good. I'm glad. I'm happy for Paladins. Cantrips are no longer included. Interesting. They get weapon mastery instead. They explicitly say instead. Wow. Wizards. Wow. All right, so they're saying these guys are not, they're not the spellcasting kind. They're making a definitive statement about paladins. They're saying these guys are less magical and more martial. Smite now gives you a paladin exclusive smite spell. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna check that out. So there's no normal smite now. Channel Divinity. Yep. Yep. Okay. Fine. Yeah, all this is just moving stuff around to match the new cadence of leveling, right? Lay on hands. You have a pool healing power, 5 times the paladin level. Draw power from the pool of healing to restore a number of hit points to the creature. No, that's all the same. Okay. So Paladin's still an incredible healer. And the reason they're an incredible healer is they have a ton of this lay on hands pool. And they can dole it out one at a time to keep people alive. And now it's a bonus action. So that's even better. Yeah, they get to change those spells, which is nice. And then weapon mastery, two kinds of weapons. Okay, so you're a real martially person. You've really got weapons. Um, and then you can change it on a long rest. I don't know. What do you guys think about changing weapon mastery on a long rest? I kind of feel like, how did you have mastery of the longsword one day and then mastery of, a crossbow the next day? Like what? Like this should be part of your training, right? Shouldn't this be permanent? I don't know. Now, I said, I think in my weapon mastery review, I think that there should be multiple weapon masteries per weapon, and you should learn a mastery. So then if you grab one of the weapons with that mastery, you can use that mastery on that weapon. But 2 different marshals using the same weapon might be using different properties because they've made different choices. That, I think, would be cool. But I get that that's complex game design. Um, Smite. Oh yeah, so they made a bunch of changes to this last time. Let's see where we're at now. Yeah, so this is just a class spell list, and it's all smites. And Divine Smite is on there. Divine Smite is a spell. Shall we go look at the spells before we proceed? I think we can do that, right? That's towards the bottom of this document. Yeah, let's read the Smite spells because I think that's important to get an understanding of this class. Oh, here we are, right at the top. Banishing Smite. Now, are these changed? Let's see. Oh, they totally are. Once again, requires concentration. Boo. Only one saving throw, and not at the end of each of the target's turns. That's a big deal. Okay. Smite spells now work with melee weapons and unarmed strikes, not ranged weapons. That's what I was asking for in my feedback. If you're mad that this happened, I'm the person that you're mad at. Me and others, we got that done. Only 2 of the spells, Searing Smite and Wrathful Smite, are on the Divine spell list. The rest are Paladin exclusive. So Cleric can't even get them except for Searing and Wrathful Smite. Is that right? It's kind of interesting. Blinding Smite has no initial saving throw, so that it's interesting here because they're giving, right, like no concentration, or like concentration, that's a nerf. One saving throw, that's a buff. Blinding Smite, no initial saving throw, that's a buff. Subsequent saves. Like, what is the goal here? They're really tuning these Smite spells. And the rest of these are... Oh, here's Divine Smite. Searing Smite now deals damage before the saving throw is made. Interesting. Doesn't require concentration, so that's a big buff to Searing Smite, which is now on the Cleric list as well, right? Shining Smite, what the heck? Okay. Thunder Smite. Wrathful Smite. Whoa. Necromancy School and deals necrotic damage. That's interesting, right? So there's that Banishing Smite. Bonus action which you take immediately after hitting a creature with a melee weapon. Ooh, immediately after. Immediately after. Okay, so the way it works now is once you've hit, the same way that like the feature allowed you to expend spell slots on a hit to add damage, now it's like you hit and then you save your bonus action for after you hit to be like, did I hit and do I want to smite on this? And you activate your smite. And look at the phrasing here. As you hit the creature, as you hit the target. So it's meant to feel like the old smite, and not the old smite spells. It's meant to feel like the old smite, where on a hit you are activating this effect, you're expending the spell slot, and then doing the thing. The only thing they're saying is technically that happens during your bonus action, right? You expend a bonus action to do that. So they're increasing the cost of each of these spells. Well, just the Divine Smite, I suppose. So let's look at that. Divine Smite, first of all, evocation spell, bonus action, which you take immediately after hitting a target with a melee weapon or an armor strike. Verbal component. I mean, that could come up. It really could. 2d8 and 1d8. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So the only difference in practical terms between this and the old feature is you're casting a spell, which can be, whatever, counterspelled or not doable in an anti-magic field, or, a mage slayer will get an opportunity attack on you, whatever. It's casting a spell with a verbal component. And then it costs a bonus action, whereas it cost nothing before. So that is overall a nerf to Paladin. you're gonna get all these smites, right? That's on the Paladin spell list. They that feature basically added it to your spell list on the at the appropriate level. So you're gonna have access to all these guys. And I think now that they all cost a bonus action, there's gonna be some very real competition for which one you want to apply, right? Like, because it's no longer like I'm just gonna smite for free and use my bonus action for something else. You're using your bonus action for this. That kind of makes Lay on Hands a little worse too, actually. I think it'd better to be keep it in an action. I guess you'd have to use a weapon attack with your action to do that. Um, Very interesting stuff. Yeah, so I think Paladin is going to vary what smites they use a lot more often. But also, they're just not going to have a preference for fighting styles that use their bonus action. I'm thinking like Polearm Masters, the butt action, right? Uh, that feels significantly less valuable to paladins. And then, I don't think they were big two-weapon fighters in the first place, but now they really aren't, right? Yeah, I don't know. And then I think that explains why they're buffing these a little bit, is they're actually going to see some play, right? They needed to tune all of these up because they're actually going to be a legitimate concern for paladins. Okay. Is there anything else we needed to see down here? I don't think so. All right, we return to our ordinary programming. We were always there. We were always in the ordinary programming, but where are you? There you are. Paladin smites. Okay, you're gonna get a fighting style. Good. So is that you get your smite spells and your fighting style at 2. You're getting your channel divinity at 3. Is divine sense a channel divinity? Hold on. Now, okay, so from context, right? So divine sense used to just be its own standalone thing they could do, and it wasn't super popular. This is very much within the channel divinity section, right? This is nested in the channel divinity. But what I'm used to from channel divinities, right, is is it saying like channel divinity like colon and then whatever the name. And I'm used to seeing you present your holy symbol, right? But it just says as a bonus action you can open your awareness to detect these guys for 10 minutes. So there's nothing about this, which was never a divine or a channel divinity before. There's nothing about this that says it's a channel divinity other than the fact that it is indented in the channel divinity section. And that seems to be the only one that they're giving you to start out with. I guess the subclasses are going to add one. What a strange and obscure choice. All right. You should, yeah, formatting. Let's do some formatting. Huh? Subclass makes sense. Oh, and they're going to give you a channel divinity right when you take your subclass, and that's how this is going to work. Okay. Faithful Steed. I'm still like, I think maybe I've cooled on this a little bit, but when they first released the Paladin, I was like, why are these class features just putting a spell on your spell list? Because what it's saying is you should cast this spell, right? You are pointing people towards doing that. And I like Faithful. I like Fine Steed. I like it as a spell. I have builds that take it. I think it's cool. But it's a choice, right? That's the whole point. You choose what spells you take on your character from the list of the spells you can take on your character, and so it looks like a class feature. It has all the trappings of a class feature, but it's really just saying, hey, you know how you could choose? You can't choose. This is on your spell list. This is whatever you wanted. Now it's on your spell list. And then yeah, you can cast it once without expending a spell slot. It's nice. It's very friendly of you. Giving me a free casting of Fine Steed, but like, What if I didn't want to cast Find Seed? I don't know. It's just strange. It just maybe I'm the only one in the world who feels this way, but it just does feel like some of these class features are like giving you an additional option, and some of these class features are nudging you towards a particular play style. And why can't they all just be options? Or protection? I don't understand how this has not been nerfed. It has survived two drafts of this, and it is clearly the most broken Paladin ability on the whole thing. Oh, I mean, we're gonna nerf Divine Smite, the signature ability of the Paladin, all the way into the ground, once per turn, uses a bonus action, has to cast a spell to do it. We're gonna nerf it into the ground, but Aura of Protection is completely untouched. Wild to me. Anyway, abjure foes as a magic action. You can spend one of your channel divinities to overwhelm foes with your divine awe. As you present your holy symbol, you can target a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier, wisdom saving throw, or have the dazed and frightened conditions. Both conditions. That's crazy. For 1 minute or until it takes any damage. So it doesn't like, it's not banishing, right? And at 9th level, the wizard is banishing. The cleric is banishing. But you are sending this out, and the dazed and frightened conditions are pretty, like, combined are pretty nasty. So that's pretty good. So this is a very good channel divinity. You'll never use divine sense again, right? I also appreciate, so I think it'll take some getting used to, but I do think that the phrase, as a magic action, you expend one use of your channel divinity, is more clear than the older version, right? It's not just like, there's this implicit connection between like channel divinity and like your resource of channel divinities. But here it's a lot easier to parse that, right? What you're doing with your action, which is classified as a magic action, is expending a channel divinity. That's I like that. I think it's kind of clear. Courage, radiant strikes. Oh, unarmed strike works as well. That's kind of interesting. All right. Restoring touch has a little bonus. It's possible that that was always there, but they have updated the conditions, which is why it's jumped out to me. Yeah, dazed is underlined. Look at that. That's funny. Yeah, all the rest of it is the same. All right, I guess we're on to subclasses. So what have you done with my Oath of Devotion? I always thought that Oath of Devotion was pretty lackluster. I liked the revision in the last set. Revised list of spells. Right, you don't need any smite spells. That's actually a good point. Yeah, no subclass needs to give you smite spells because you've got all the smite spells automatically added to your list. Probably gonna have to edit this a little bit more than I do the others. Smite of Protection has moved to 15th level. It now works with all your Paladin smite spells. Interesting. Provides half cover. Huh. Okay. Yeah, let's check this out. So what's your new spell list? Evil and Good, Shield of Faith, Aid, Zone of Truth, Beacon of Hope, Spell Magic, Freedom of Movement, Guardian of Faith, Communion Flame Strike. So, having not remembered the older Oath of Devotion spell list, this seems fine and good. This seems very, very reasonable. Yes, Smite of Protection. Let's check this out. Your magical smites now radiate protective energy. Whenever you cast any of your Paladin smite spells, you and your allies in the Aura of Protection have half cover until the start of your next turn. Okay, so whenever you smite, you give a little like pulse of protective energy. And it's your Aura of Protection. That's the 6th level, yeah? So it's 10 feet, and then when you get up there, it's 30 feet. Where are we getting? We're getting this at 15th level, so it's about to be 30 feet. Okay. That's kind of cool. I can get behind that. Holy Nimbus. Holy Ward. Advantage on any saving throw you're forced to make by a fiend or undead. Radiant damage. Whenever an enemy starts its turn in the aura, it takes radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. Nice. Is that what it used to be? I will not look it up and bog down the video, but that seems like... Is that more radiant damage? Sunlight is built for the bright light and sunlight. Yep. And they put the tenants at the end. That's kind of fun. Right? Because it's not up there in the... Yeah. I guess you swear your oath at the end of the class. That's how it works. Oath of Glory. Inspiring Smite no longer requires a bonus action. Works with all the spell. Oh, that makes sense. Right. So yeah, you're paying the bonus action already on your Smite spells, so it's just going to activate on them, like the protection. Peerless Athlete. Sure. Enhances Aura of Protection. So everything's building on this Aura of Protection. That's not something I expected. So it seems like the Paladin is actually very much focused on their Aura of Protection, which is a 10-foot radius. Not only do they take the most powerful feature in the Paladin and keep it exactly the same, but they're adding to it. Fools. All right. It's not what I would have done, but it is a valid creative choice to take it this way. And by the way, I believe, like, if you've watched my previous videos on like the druid and the monk and the cleric, I accused Wizards of the Coast of a lot of lack of creativity, right? The abilities they're adding are not very creative. And I haven't thought that even one time as I've been scrolling through this. Right? Partially because a lot of them are the same abilities they always were. But, like, really, the Smite of Protection is new, right? Who is even... Like, there's no other class that is generating a, like, one-turn half cover based on their aura, existing aura's radius. You know, I think there's... some of the clerics got, like, little half cover, like, domes or stuff that they could put up. And the Druid of the Land could do this, like, half cover area with plants. But this is the mechanical realities of Smite of Protection are unique, right? They already had Holy Nimbus in here, but combining all these three together creates this really cool and unique combination. They're doing well. They're doing well so far. In terms of like creatively coming up with ideas and having those ideas be good, like good as in powerful. And yeah, so I might sound grumpy, but I think they're doing the best job with Paladin that they've done so far. I think it is strange that everything is going to require a bonus action for these Smite spells, but I also think Smite was, a little bit of an overpowering feature in the first place. So maybe it's necessary. Paladin certainly did not need to, like, get buffed, right? Paladin was not standing there being like, oh, please, sir, can I have some more? Like if there was anyone you were going to nerf, it'd be Paladin. I think it's weird that they would nerf the Smite and not the Aura of Protection. But that aside, I think that the work they're doing on this class is good. Inspiring Smite. Immediately after you deal damage to a creature with any of your Paladin Smite spells, you can expend one use your Channel Divinity and distribute. So that's so funny. So you're hitting, and then immediately after your bonus actioning, and then immediately after your Channel Divinity all on this one turn. Temporary hit points to creatures of your choice. The total number is 2d8 plus your Paladin level divided amongst the chosen creatures, however you like. That's pretty cool. So yeah, no one is ever going to use the Divine Sense Channel Divinity, right? We've only seen a couple of these so far, and I already cannot imagine spending your resource on that. Which is interesting. So that kind of, Divine Sense kind of goes away, right? To a certain extent. And they get a second channel divinity here, Peerless Athlete. We knew about this, but it lasts an hour now, which, yeah, I mean, it was completely useless before, so that's nice. Um, I always wanted to, I always wanted to have a campaign where I played this paladin, and we had to like be in like a wrestling match, or like I entered into the local like Coliseum games, and was the rest of my team had to like figure out how to like cheer me on from the stands. But that's a absolutely impossible fantasy, right? That would never happen. This Channel Divinity has no reasonable application in a D&D campaign. But maybe your DM is gonna come up with some scenario where like there's a bunch of doors in a row like Indiana Jones, and you've got to like grab them and like hold them open and then go to the next one, and then this will be useful. I still don't think it's. I mean, you're sitting next to Inspiring Smite here, right? Inspiring Smite does not require a bonus action. It boosts up your whole party. It's very clean and easy and powerful. And Peerless Athlete is this big old clunky thing. So yeah, it could be an hour, it could be a day, it could be 24 hours, and I don't think we would riot. Aura of Alacrity. Yep, that one is the same. Glorious Defense. You can turn defense into a sudden strike. Yes, I'm familiar with this ability. Um, yeah, cool. Ooh, Living Legend. As a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. Charismatic. You're blessed with another presence, gaining advantage on all charisma checks. That's fun. That's nice. Saving throw reroll. You can use your reaction to re-roll it. Okay? Must use the new roll. So constant indomitable. That is perfectly good for a capstone feature. Unerring strike. On each of your turns, when you make an attack roll with a weapon and miss, you can cause the attack to hit instead. Once on each of your turns. All right. Cool. And on the subsequent turns, you can smite that hit, so you can consistently be smiting. Oath of the Ancients. Ooh, here we go. This subclass is a popular one. Nature's Wrath can now restrain multiple creatures. Heck yeah. Turn the Faithless has been replaced by Abjure Foes in the base class. That's right. So that 9th level thing. Okay. So is it just gone? Aura of Warding now enhances the Paladin's Aura of Protection. Mmm. Yeah, they really are hitching all their horses to that wagon, huh? And provides resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. Sorry? Just necrotic and radiant damage? Okay. I guess we have to look at it. Undying Sentinel now heals you. Elder Champion is now a bonus action instead of an action. Benefits all your spells. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Alright. You look the same. Each creature you can see within 15 feet of you. Oh, that's cool. So it's like emanating from you. And it can hit as many people within 15 feet as you want. I actually love that. And psychic. Sorry, did it just miss that? Necrotic and radiant damage. Necrotic, psychic, and radiant damage. Alright, they just missed it, I guess. That's so... Alright. Marshalling my thoughts. 3 damage resistances is good. And these 3 are not bad ones to have, right? A lot of foes deal necrotic damage. Certain foes deal psychic damage, and the nice thing about that is it's pretty obvious when you're up against one of those, right? If it's got tentacles, like get close to the paladin for the psychic damage. Um, yeah, I mean the old one was just so good, and it wasn't like I don't know about you guys. I wasn't seeing Oath of Ancients paladins in all of my campaigns or anything like that. Like it wasn't. Like when people played Paladin, they would look at the different options, and Oath of Ancients was like, oh yeah, that's a good aura, but like, I'm gonna go with a different direction, right? So I don't think it was broken before. It was good, it was strong, and now it's just 3 damage resistances and not resistance to damage from spells. Um, it's also tied to your aura of warding, or sorry, your aura of protection, which again is 10 feet for most of it. So actually, was the old aura was 10 feet as well, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that's not going to be different. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a nerf. There's no two ways about it. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that it isn't. You know what this is? They're changing the monsters, aren't they? Monsters no longer do spells; they do effects, like they do abilities. Um, so you can't have resistance to damage from spells because you're going to end up with, you know, whoever doing Death Bolt, which doesn't even count as a cantrip or whatever. It's just on the stat block, and it's yeah. I think this becomes a little bit more situational. I think you really do have to size up your campaign and go, okay, how often are we going to be taking necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage? And maybe if the answer is not often, I don't take this class. Yeah, because even like, notably, that's not one of the dragon damage types, right? So if you're doing, Rise of Tiamat or something like that, I think you leave your Ancients Paladin at home. I have not played through that adventure, but I'm familiar with, the Abashi stat blocks, with Tiamat's stat block, with, the cultists and stuff like that. And I feel like you're gonna not want this paladin in your party if that's if you know what you're going up against, which is kind of a shame. I have a campaign with a friend where it's very explicitly like eldritch gods are trying to enter the world, and we're using aberration stat blocks, right? And you look through the aberration stat blocks, and it's psychic damage everywhere, right? So your friend says that, you kind of go like, oh yeah, let's grab a Oath of Ancients Paladin. It's smart. Um, but if your friend goes like, yeah, I guess Curse of Strahd, you'll take some necrotic damage, but I mean that's where you're thinking, right? That's where your head's at. The protection from spells is good in every campaign, more or less, right? But I think with the way they're reworking monsters, you can't do it that way anymore. You could probably switch it up and just say spell attacks have disadvantage within your aura of warding, right? I mean, that's still true for all these new monster abilities. Those are still, spell attacks. I would maybe do that. I would maybe just have people be harder to hit with spells while they're in your aura of protection. But okay, that's where they're doing with this. Undying Sentinel. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, look at that. It's just like the monk now. Elder Champion. Bonus action. Diminished Defiance. Enemies in the aura have disadvantage on saving throws against your spells and channel divinity options. It's actually very good. I love that. That's very nice. Regen. That's sweet. Swift spells. I'm kind of shocked we don't see this on very many characters. I don't know if this is like an overpowered thing. Because, at 20th level, you're very much talking about characters who might have, up to 200 hit points, right? Like a D10 long run average is 5 times 20 is 100 plus your Constitution modifier times 20. It's probably not going to be a max, but you know what I mean. Like 140, 150 hit points. You're generating 10 each turn. It seems small. It's nice. It's cool. Like I just feel like why don't they do this more? And I think the answer is right that technically speaking, this means you can't stay down, right? Because if you go to 0 hit points at the start of your turn, you'll regenerate. So I have a house rule that's basically like a unstable person, right? Like a person who is dying and not stabilized cannot regenerate hit points. And I like the rule because it means you have to do stuff to like get them stable before you can use magic to like bump them back up. And I feel like that would be useful here because you could just give more people a passive regeneration, and then if they go down, they can't regenerate until they're stabilized. So spells, whenever you cast a spell that is casting on one action, you cast it using a bonus action instead. Okay, so that seems bad to me. And the reason it seems bad to me is because you already have so many bonus action spells. So many. I mean, by 20th level, you've got all the smite spells, right? So you've got like 8 smite spells on a bonus action. You've got your lay on hands. This is a bonus action. Your elder champion, you used a bonus action to do it. So the turn you do it, you can't do that. I I don't even think Swift spells is a good feature generally because I think generally speaking, you want to just be whacking people away. I guess diminished defiance means their saving throws are lower, so this means you can do stuff besides smites that they have disadvantage on the saving throw. It makes sense. I just think paladins are really bonus action starve or like bonus action stuffed now. Like you got a lot of stuff on your bonus action you're doing here, and I don't know if moving everything to a bonus action casting is actually helping that in any way. But whatever, it's the third ability on a 20th level capstone feature. It's fine. Good work with the ancients. I don't think it'll see very much play now. Although Nature's Wrath is cooler. Let's give that credit. Nature's Wrath is cooler, and that's a third level thing. So if you're playing a lower level campaign, Oath of Vengeance. Oh, they did Oath of Vengeance. Compelled Duel instead of Hunter's Mark. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. That's absolutely what a Vengeance would have. I never even thought about it that way, but that's absolutely what Vengeance would have. Vow of Enmity. Oh, works like Hunter's Mark. I don't know. The flavor has been lost a little bit with that change. It's obviously like more powerful. Good for them. But Relentless Avenger. Ooh, that's good. Abjure Enemy. Yep. Okay. Avenging Angel. Bonus action instead of an action, and it's 10 minutes rather than an hour. That all makes sense. This is the same. A Vow of Enmity. Advantage on attack rolls. Creature drops to 0 hit points. You can transfer the vow to a different creature. It's like I'm hunting you until you're dead. Like I will not stop until you're dead. And then he dies, and you're like, no, but now you. It's just not as vengeful. Okay. Your supernatural focus helps you close up foe's retreat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you can reduce the creature's speed to 0, and then move up to half your speed as part of the same reaction. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, so any creature with an opportunity attack, so you have Sentinel, more or less, right? Now, listen, if I'm being too mean, you let me know if I'm being too harsh on this, but don't you you kind of feel like that should be on the person your vow of enmity's on, right? You can cut off that foe's retreat if they try and get away from you. You can stop them. I just kind of, you know, I'm missing what makes this class tie together a little bit. Soul of Vengeance. Creature under the effect of your vow of enmity hits or misses with an attack. See, there you go. A creature under the effect of your vow of enmity. Look at that. We're tying the class together. Hits or misses with an attack. So it just makes an attack then. You can use a reaction to make a melee attack against that creature if it's within range. And, oh, does that count as an opportunity attack? It didn't phrase it that way. It's you're using your reaction to make an attack, but it's not an opportunity attack. So it doesn't reduce their speed to 0. See, listen, Wizard, you can, like, synergy, right? Like, abilities can work with each other. Okay. Avenging Angel, your protection with holy power, granting the following benefits. Flight, sure. Frightful Aura, oh, that's cool. There's one long rest, or a 5th level spell slot, okay. So I'm actually feeling like, are these subclasses all getting a little bit of a nerf? Is that what's going on? I feel like Devotion didn't. Devotion is good. I mean, so obviously, advantage on attack rolls against whoever you're attacking the whole combat. Is good. Like, this is, like, obviously Vow of Enmity is an extremely good ability. I'm not saying that it isn't a good ability. Vow of Enmity is quite potent. And, like, Sentinel, like, people take Sentinel and they like it, and this gives you Sentinel. So that's, you know, it's good. I just, you know, I think you take the class as a whole. I feel like you're doing very little. You're doing damage to one person, right? You're doing damage to one person. Single target damage was always what the Oath of Vengeance was about. I'm just kind of surprised to see that they sort of, like, constricted a little bit. So, like, why do you need to use Compelled Duel now? You're just gonna attack one person, and if they try and get away, you'll reduce their speed to 0. I guess there's a big time between 3rd level and 7th level where you need that person to stay and fight. So that's fair. Okay. Well, is what it is. Oh my gosh, and we're already here at the Ranger. Okay. Well, let me, so some final thoughts on the Paladin. For whatever reason, Smite has been nerfed, perhaps with the goal of making it more equivalent to the other Smite spells. It's now going to cost you a bonus action, and it is a casting of a spell. So it's subject to all the restrictions that go with that. Paladin has a lot of bonus actions now. The Lay on Hands is a bonus action. All the Smite spells are a bonus action. All of the capstones are a bonus action. Some of the Channel Divinities are a bonus action. Druid also, you know, their wild shape is a bonus action. It does feel as though there is a movement towards every class having something to do with their bonus action, and Paladin seems to be the pinnacle of that. This is not a class you want to take a bonus action related feat or fighting style on. Do not grab Polar Master with Paladin. You do not grab whatever, the Crossbow Expert with Paladin, right? Because you're gonna need these bonus actions every turn, it seems like. The other thing that's interesting is they're really, really doubling down on the aura of protection specifically. And remember, until a very high level, that is a 10-foot radius. So all of the Paladin subclasses that I saw, with the exception of Vengeance, have bonuses within your aura of protection. So it's specifically tied to that radius. And so that means like everyone already wanted their +3 to saving throws or whatever you're going to give them, right? But more so, I do think this benefits a grouped party even more so. And I like that a lot because it encourages people to be in the melee, right? Or if you're in the melee with a paladin, it's going to give you a benefit, and that's what you want to be there. And paladins can't smite on ranged attacks, so they have to be in the melee. So I love that. I think that's good changes. But it is something to keep in mind is uh, I think more so than previously, the paladin is going to shape, or maybe the other way around. You are going to select a paladin based on the campaign that your DM is running and the group that the other players have said that they're going to be, um, because you're really going to need to work out at character creation how things are going to go, or you're going to not be making the best use of some of these features. Uh, Other than that, yeah, I think that the Paladin Smite spells all got a boost, and I think each of the subclasses kind of got a little bit of a nerf overall, um, in really small ways. But yeah, that's the Paladin.